Welcome, everybody, to our first ever Nerdbox live discussion here. That is not an interview. How is everybody doing tonight?
What's
We
happening?
are doing fantastic.
I was going to say fantastic. Now I got to say something else.
Well, I said
I'm doing
fantastic.
wonderful.
Well, remember, we can't say something else because of that YouTube algorithm out there, and they're listening. Big Brother YouTube is
This is
listening,
true.
so we don't want to say those naughty words. All right, so there are some new faces that people may not have seen before. So we're going to go around the room real quick and introduce everybody. So, Lukas, artist, musician, writer,
Hello.
how's it going?
It is. It is certainly going. This is quite the ride.
What ride?
Awesome. You want to tell us? You want to tell us a little bit about your band?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm in a band. We do a lot of rock music, a lot of some heavy stuff, I'll say. And I'm a big fan of horror movies, so this is lovely to just be a part of.
All right, good. His music is pretty good. Where can they find it at?
You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Prime Music, YouTube, everything underneath Crybaby Cult.
What was that band? Just one more time.
Crybaby Cult.
All right. Noah, it's been a while since you've been on here. I know we recently collabed on a
I
video
know.
about stream, but you're a former woman in horror. You had your own show on here doing reviews. So how's everything been?
I also have my own channel. First off, I want to say hi to CG. Yeah, CG, how you doing? He says hi, everyone, by the way, in the comments. But yeah, it's been a long time awaited, expected, and hopefully dreamt about return. I know I've been dreaming about it. I've missed doing this. This is my first live stream, though. I've never done anything live. So this is going to be really interesting because I've had time when I'm recording. My guy, CG. When I'm recording, I can edit out the stuff that I shouldn't be saying online. So we're going to see how this plays into effect today. But I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Just having a good old time.
You do look a tad like a ghostly woman right now, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm from the women in horror group. I'm just representing the classics.
All right, and then we got Marcus. Marcus has been on the channel several times. We've actually done a live together for a charity event for the Scene Snobs. A few years ago, we did a live 5 things where we went over. I actually don't remember movies that people love that we hate, and I know I blew everybody's mind because my number one was Shawshank Redemption. But Marcus, what have you been up to?
Not much, man. Just riding this wave of stream, still trying to get it extended out here in Vegas, and just moving on to the next project that I'm working on.
All right, and so just so that people know too, with you got a Kickstarter that's ending today, right?
Yeah, with Mirror Mirror, we still got some time to raise the funds for that. Uh, but everyone stay, just keep your eyes out peeled. We might have some news coming about it, and yeah, we're trying to get that done within a month or two. Hopefully in November we can start shooting that as well.
All right, awesome. It's the final hours. I know the last time I checked it, it's at 77% funded. So hopefully that gets done today. Now,
Yeah, we
uh,
definitely need the help.
we're going to do something a little bit different here. So, in the comments pinned here, or if you're on Facebook watching this, or if you're on YouTube, in the comments, we have a link to the live tier maker poll that we're going to be looking at shortly. So, you can go ahead and determine any ties that we have when we're going through this by just giving us where you're ranking the movies, and then we'll go ahead and we'll open up the conversation to whoever's watching as we discuss each movies. But before we do that, let's go take a look at those comments that we have going out right now. So, yep, we have CG in the building. Hey, CG, thanks for joining us. And just to let you know, CG, what we're going to be doing, since we talked about it on our community chat, next week, what we're going to do is we're going to do a Terrifier 3 trailer breakdown. So we'll all get together and we're going to talk about that stuff. All right, so let's dive into things here. So we got our tier. It's broken down by a few different categories here. So our number one category is perfection. Our second category is a must watch. Our third category is surprisingly decent. Our fourth category is going to be acceptable time wasters. Our fifth our category is filler, and then the last one is unwatchable garbage. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each film, and then we're going to put it in a tier ranking, and then we're going to go through whatever's there, and we're going to rate it either one, two, three, four, five, and six, and how it breaks down. So let's start off things here with our first movie, and that is going to be Alien. So Noah, we'll start with you since you're on the bottom there. Let's talk about Alien. What do we think here? What's your thoughts on the Alien
Bottom
movie?
man starts first. Well, I really enjoyed the Alien movie. I remember the first time watching it, just having the same feeling that I would assume pretty much everyone, both on and off the camera, felt while watching the film, because you just every step of the way is just so intense, and then when you think that you're gonna be calm and we're gonna have a good time, it's like, no, actually, we're gonna make sure everyone has PTSD from being a part of this movie, whether as a watcher or an actor, and we're gonna just explode somebody's chest right there in a full uncut scene. Like, it's just fantastic. I mean, like the pacing on everything is like, it's really good, and it's probably like it's just ranked up there as one of my all-time favorite sci-fi horror films, because like you never forget your first time of watching this movie, and just the reaction and the feelings that you're feeling and everything, all like the sensations and all that. Like, it's just an intense ride the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. Lucas, what do you got on that one?
Yeah, I have to say I pretty much agree. I haven't seen, not that I haven't seen this movie. I haven't seen this movie until recently again. Like, when I was a kid, I watched this movie and it was not. I was like bored out of my mind because I was a child. But now that I've been able to see like the re-release in the theaters and everything, it's just boosted my like appreciation for the franchise in general.
Mhm.
It's like, to go even further beyond a classic, it's quite literally the definition of a cult classic.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
do
I agree
already
with
have
you.
CG throwing out some bold claims, by the way.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we're done talking Alien. See what comments we get out there. Marcus, what's your thoughts on Alien?
Man, I remember the very first time I saw it. I was a kid. My mom's boyfriend at the time introduced me to it, and like Noah said, man, it was a wild ride. Like, it just had your heart just racing. Once the dinner scene started, your heart was just racing nonstop the rest of the film.
Mhm.
You were
Well,
always
there was one
wondering,
person's heart who wasn't racing.
right? You were always wondering when it was going to pop up again. You never knew what was around the corner. The acting was great. The score was great. The claustrophobic feeling was great. And the film just inspired so much within the genre, but also
Mhm.
within just sci-fi films in general. It changed the game for filmmaking. So yeah, I love it, man. It's one of the greatest films ever made in history to me.
Yeah, now I saw these movies out of order. So back in the day when there was only like four channels and cable was still on the rise, Fox would run Halloween month every single night, Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. They would run a horror movie, and the first one that I saw was Aliens. Before I saw Alien, now I happened to see like images of what was going on in the Alien movie because we had this awesome card set back then. It was called Fright Flicks, and it had a lot of great things on that card set from the movie. When we're seeing the chest burster scene in there, and we're also seeing our alien, our synthetic in there. We're seeing him with his head off and the milk stuff coming all out of his mouth. So that
Mhm.
was a lot of the stuff that was on the Fright Foot cards, and I really loved it back then. But I'll tell you, like Ripley's performance in the film is iconic in itself because
Mhm.
we didn't have a female character in horror movies and sci-fi movies that were on that level. We had the girls running and screaming like we had Laurie Strode, but it wasn't until like a few years before that we had Foxy Brown where we actually saw a strong female
Yeah,
protagonist character like we
yeah.
did in this film. So it's a groundbreaking film not only in special effects but in the character delivery of the story as well. Now,
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the first movies that I saw that had like instead of like like in Predator, like you'd have Arnold Schwarzenegger be like the main guy to fight the Predator. But like this was one of the first movies I saw that there was Sigourney Weaver's on the screen and she's kicking butt. But yeah,
Now,
I mean,
originally it was meant to be a man role, but they changed it towards the beginning of filming. They switched it to a female, so it was a smart move to switch it over to a female. Now, back for us kids in the 80s, just to let you know. Go ahead, Lucas. I'm sorry.
That was me.
I wasn't saying.
I was gonna say that you could
ahead.
probably say that she was one of the women in horror and sci-fi to pave the way for that strong survival girl archetype. Because I mean, like you said with Laurie Strode, she did live, but she didn't really stop the bad guy. That was kind of Loomis, who also didn't die. With what spoilers or whatever, but whatever. But it is kind of interesting to see, like when you look at all those survivor girls in that same time period, Ripley is the one that stands out as being the one who got in there and got that done.
Yeah, I hate when the discussion comes up in Final Girl and it's like, oh, Laurie Strode's got to be number one.
No.
Why? She screamed. She ran.
I would argue that Nev Campbell as
I would say
as Sydney would be more is like higher up, because she also fought and she was in more movies and she didn't die based on like the Halloween's original canon franchise. She lived. So based on those two franchises, I would say that
Ripley and Sydney are the final girls. They're the number two.
Yeah.
They're the pinnacle.
Yeah, and Ripley may have died, but she came back and she still died like a boss. So also I think it said Our Life in Horror. I can't remember the name, but hi, because they also said hello to everyone. I missed the name.
No.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. Now, just before we go ahead and drop it onto our tier list real quick. So, like, other than the chestburster scene, for me, the scene with Jonesy the cat watching as the xenomorph comes down and
such a cat thing to do
character in the movie. That's a stand. Yeah, I know. It's better than A Quiet Place, what that cat was doing. But that's a scene that sticks out to me in this movie. And then, of course, I was a kid. Marcus, you'll vouch for this back in the 80s. Seeing Sigourney Weaver at the end of the film is like, oh, my God. But, all right, let's go ahead and jump into where we're putting this.
Well, I also got to say,
Alien,
not just the Jonesy scene, but the scene where Ripley is putting on the suit and she sees the xenomorph tucked up in the little cubby.
Oh my God!
That shot of that thing just crawling out, man. To this day,
the quiet is deafening. The quiet is deafening.
The big thing for me about these movies is the tension is just like it's there. It's very. These are all very well. Most of them are very tense movies.
Yep. All right. So
some of them are tense for a very different reason.
Yeah. We're going to talk about tension with the second film. But I think it's safe to say, are we looking here to possibly put this one as perfection? The first category up there on the top.
I'm not going to lie. It's hard to place it anywhere else in my head because this is the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like practical effects at its best. Like it was just like, because you got things like this and The Thing, and like those practical effects, and like they just like hearing like, oh, I made this out of cardboard and toothpaste, and it's like, well, you somehow made something that has existed in my nightmares for decades. So thanks, I guess. I'll never use toothpaste the same way again. So like it's just really hard to like even if like the story wasn't amazing, which in itself it's perfectly written. Like it's such a great story because like, you get like the twist with Ash and like it's like what's best for the company, and then just that, like even without that, the practical effects just kind of sets it apart from most other films of that time, especially like horror-based films.
All right, so we got let's take a look at our comments that we got going on here. So we got CG dropping that the alien looks so unique. It took out so much, and the fourth time I see it, that the alien came out the mouth of lots of laughs. Classic. Yeah. That scene's always a pivotal one on there. And then we do have that hello in there from Our Life in Horror, new to horror, love live streams. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for dropping a comment. Now, before we do jump over to aliens, everybody that you're watching, please drop a like on there. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Help our channel grow. But let's go
wait.
ahead.
Can I do the YouTuber? Can I do the YouTuber one?
Yeah.
Hey guys, come on, make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below. Everything is just gonna be wild if you subscribe to this channel right now. It looks like right here, only 90% of you are subscribed. Fuck. I mean,
Here,
oh,
I gotta
crap.
wait. Can I do a better one? Can I do a better one? If you guys subscribe, we
on the-
can
at the
pay
end.
someone better than Lucas.
Oh. All right. Let's jump into Aliens. So we started with you, Noah, the last time. Lucas, you can start us off with Aliens.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have too much to say about Aliens. Aliens is probably, to me, it was a decent sequel to a movie that at first did not mean a whole bunch to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of all I can really say about it. Like I like that there was more than one alien.
Oh, yeah.
That is always the
comedy
key
behind
detail, isn't it?
calling it Aliens. It's just that's just funny to me. But it's a decent movie. I can't really say I feel too strongly about it either way though.
All right. Marcus, how about you?
Bro, you know how I feel about it. I love it. For me, Aliens and Predator are like this. They're the perfect sci-fi action horror movies. You know, it's just it had the perfect combination of comedy with Bill Paxton. It had the tense moments with all the xenomorphs. It had the drama. It had the relationship with Ripley and Newt was great, and even Hicks. Bishop was off. I mean, the movie was just awesome, man, all around. It was just awesome. And then you get the Queen. The Queen was great. Nobody expected that. And then to this day, Aliens is still one of the best arcade games, shooting games ever in history. To this day, I go back and play the game. That arcade game was amazing.
I never played that arcade game.
Loved it.
All right.
I do wish in canon we could include Alien Isolation, because that as a story is also amazing.
If only.
That would make this ranking even tougher for me though.
Yeah, Aliens for me, that's the first film that I saw, and the thing that always sticks out to me is the motion tracker. Just the slow beats.
Oh my god.
Aliens coming up. And you don't see them anywhere. You just hear the beeps, and that's where the tension is. Like, this is the real horror film of the entire franchise. It's the best one of them all. And it introduced a bunch of characters that I really liked. Like Bill Paxton character, the only man to be in Aliens, Predator, and Terminator. The man's an icon in itself.
Not the
and
only.
he fought tornadoes.
Not the only.
Yeah. Who else?
So Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen were both killed by Terminator and Xenomorphs.
And
because Lance Henriksen was a cop in the first Terminator movie. So
yeah, I guess Alien versus Predator. But he cheated. He had to do it in the versus movie to get that Predator one in there. But the characters are great in there. Now they introduced such great characters. Like I would have loved to see some of these characters, continue on. Like Paul Reiser's Carter, definitely would love to see more about his character and something else. So if they were to do a spin-off on his character, that would be awesome. Now, what do you think about it, Noah?
Well, here, let me get I have my notebook of all the things that I wrote down about all of these movies, because I rewatched all these and came prepared for this. I came prepared for this. It's such a jump from what the first movie was, because that was such it was a slow burn kind of psychological thriller. It was you're on the edge of your seat, not knowing where this thing is, and you don't see it that much. You see the alien, but in a lot of dark sequences, so you can barely see it, and it's just not. It's not always there it's not always there in camera. It's just always there in spirit, because that was just kind of the threat that it posed. You just had no idea what you were looking at. But since we have the second one now, where Ripley knows what's going on, she knows what these things are, she kind of knows how to handle them. It's well, you need to throw something else at them. There's something new. So instead of and you bring all these you bring all these things in here, like you have hundreds of them. I would assume it seems like there's hundreds of them, and you have all these soldiers, and they have, as we see from Romulus, they're auto fire basically weapons, or auto aim fire weapons, and they have their flamethrowers, and they think that they're prepared, and even like their space marines or whatever you want to call them, they have no idea how to handle the situation. So once again, Ripley has to step in. But like, even with this advanced military system or whatever you want to call them, whatever, they still could not deal with all of this. And like you said, with like the beeping, and then like when they're in the scene where it's like, oh well, they're in the room, and then they just peek up, and then you just see all of them coming up. It's like just coming in through the ceiling, converging on that one spot. It's like it's what Marcus said. It's like it's just an array of emotions throughout the entire thing, and it's another wild ride.
Yeah, and it's something that if it re-releases into the theaters, even if you've seen it many times, you still got to see it in the theaters, because it's just a different experience when you're seeing it in the theaters and hearing the surround sound and everything in it.
Yeah, that was the first one out of all the movies that I had seen in the theater. Because again, I saw the first one on VHS. Yeah, I had seen the first one on VHS with my mom's boyfriend, and then because that one came out 70, what was it, 79, something like that, like something like that. I don't know. It was before I was born. And then Aliens came out in like 86 or something like that. So yeah, I got to see it in theaters, and that was an experience.
I think the first one I saw was Alien, just because we went to go see the re-release on 2 separate occasions, and I think that I was just it was like a coming of age time to watch it, so I was shown the first one as a child. But yeah, I saw Alien first, and then I also saw the re-release in theaters of Alien before any other Alien movie. I actually haven't. I think I've only seen Alien and Alien Romulus in theaters, because I missed Covenant and Prometheus. I don't think we saw that in theaters, but yeah, I think I've only seen 2 of them.
Covenant in theaters was something else.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look here at what we're doing with this one. So we got Aliens. Is that going in perfection, or is it a must-watch?
It's perfection for me.
I would put it in must-watch, but that's just me.
So when we were talking about the tier list
I'm
before,
going for perfection.
we
So
said
that's yeah.
So when we were talking about this before, we instead of saying must watch, you said accidental gold as like that part of the tier list. So I put Aliens
I got rid of that.
accidental.
It made no sense.
So I considered it to be a correct assumption of Aliens, because when you're going into a sequel, you always expect it to be, maybe sometimes you could on certain occasions expect it to be better, but back then you'd probably just assume that it wouldn't be as good as the first one. So when you're going into it, you're seeing it's like, holy crapola, this is probably just as good or better, which I wouldn't, for me it's not ranked as better as Alien, but I would consider it a must watch or accidental gold, as we previously talked about, just because I really think that that's what it would be, instead of just like watching. It's like perfection, but that would mean that we technically have a tie if I say a must watch.
That's fine. They can both be in perfection, and then when we come back later to put them in the ranking order, that's fine. So if you guys still want to stick with the must watch, that's fine. I know I'm voting for it as perfection. Marcus, what do you got?
Yeah, I say perfection, and the reason why I put Alien and Aliens together, when we get to our ranking, is because again, Alien is more of a horror and psychological thriller, and it builds on that tension and that claustrophobic feel of being in the ship.
Yep.
Where Aliens, like I said, is a sci-fi action horror film. And so I rank that up there with like Predator, but it's still a perfect film. So that's why I put them. It's like 2 different subgenres, but still perfect film.
All right, so we're split there. We'll go to the comments. So CG, I know you're out there, you're watching. So what do you think, man? You got the tiebreaker. Are we gonna drop this in perfection, or are we gonna drop it in a must watch? So I'll give you a couple of seconds there to go ahead and type away. Now, I honestly, we're going to talk about the 1s and 2s later. So I sense an argument coming when we talk about 1s and 2s when it comes to this one. So let's see here. Let's see. We'll pull up a comment here while we're waiting on that. So, talking about video games, CG was talking about the Terminator arcade game was fire too.
Oh yeah, that
It
was the
was.
shit.
Ah, we got it. CG is breaking the tie. We got it sitting at must watch. Oh my god!
Okay.
Wow!
Wow.
Wow!
I will
That
say
just
it's a
I'm
destroyed my
saying, I'm just
fantastic
saying that.
movie. I
Yeah.
love the entire thing, but I would not consider it to be perfection. I don't think that it can
Wow.
rank. I don't think that
I
it
would have to say
can
it's
rank
Oh,
with Alien for a very specific reason that I have with the Alien franchise. And
yeah.
that is just that while I do love the action aspect of it, I think just going straight with the horror and like the element of like you can't fight this thing. You have to outthink it. That's what I prefer because it is also fiercely intelligent in its hunting stance. Like as a like the
Mhm.
xenomorphs, they are intelligent and they're great hunters. But to
Look,
outsmart it, I just think that I prefer that performance in killing or
I prefer.
in unaliving or subduing the xenomorphs. That's just my
look.
personal opinion.
There's one way I can really sum up how I feel right now. All right.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Okay, all right. Shh.
What about the
That's fine.
censorship?
The F
I
word's
feel like you're
allowed.
harshing.
You can't say those other things on YouTube. The F word's okay.
I feel like you're harshing my fucking vibe. I was just trying to say it in a friendly
Man,
way,
friggin'
but you know
heck.
what? I'm just trying to say it friendly because I know things are gonna get heated eventually. I would just like not to ramp it up off the beginning, but because I know
I
that
mean, if
ranking
you
this
guys,
or
if you guys
because once we
want
get
to,
to
if you guys
ranking,
really
it's
want
gonna
to
get
get
bad.
into it, Aliens isn't even in my
All
top
right.
10, or isn't even in my top 5.
Oh, we're
Top
not
10.
going to get into that now. We're not going to get into that. We're going to get to Alien 3 now.
Relax.
Oh,
Don't set fire to the flame just yet. We're getting
yeah.
there.
All right. So Alien 3, Marcus, you can kick us off with that one. What did you think of that film?
So Alien 3, I'm torn with it because you got the two different versions. You got the theatrical release, which was a hot mess. Still watchable, but a hot mess. And then you got, I always butcher his last name, Fichtner. You got his version, which should have been worldly released, which was more acceptable and to me more of a complete film. And even Sigourney Weaver within the past couple of weeks, I think, because of Romulus and stuff, spoke out about her experience with part 3. And so again, I was like, I don't know about this one, but then I mean Ripley was great in it. How they wrote her, it was just all the other characters I had no feeling about them. Maybe Charles S. Dutton, because I just loved him as an actor. And Charles Dance, of course, because I was a fan of his because of Last Action Hero was the first time I seen him in anything. So I already liked him. So those 3 people made it watchable for me. I was pissed about Newt and Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just
awful.
Yeah,
So lazy.
it was just
So
awful,
lazy.
man. So that took me out of the movie. So again, I watched it because I'm a fan of the franchise, but yeah.
Yeah, I hated this movie for a long time. It's like the movies that I own is Alien, Aliens, and I think Alien Covenant. So that may be a spoiler to what we're going to talk about later. I didn't want to see Aliens 3 again after I watched it with my kids. It's been about 10 years. But on the rewatch, it felt a little bit better this time than I was watching it. It wasn't as bad as I remembered it. But I'll tell you, like, that prison planet, it felt like the asylum from Nightmare on Elm Street with Amanda Kruger, with how it was lit and how dirty everybody was. So that was one of those things that. And then the xenomorph dog, like, we start to see things change in this film. Like, we have the xenomorph burst out, and it's like, wait a minute, you got 4 legs. You're supposed to have just a tail. You're like a tadpole xenomorph, and this thing has got 4 legs coming out the creature. So things are starting to change in the franchise here. I think it's okay rewatching it after a decade of not having seen it. But a lot of the close-up shots are good. Like you said, Sigourney Weaver was really good in it too. We also got to see the xenomorph POV cam of the xenomorph racing through the tunnels. I thought was pretty neat as well. All right, Noah, what's your thoughts on Aliens 3?
Let me just pull up my my handy dandy notebook. Okay, so first off, I have a lot of like questions like watching this because like you both have stated that you kind of like on the rewatch, you kind of like enjoyed it more. On the rewatch, I have ranked it lower. It
Ooh.
because it brings up so many
Wow.
questions. It brings up so many questions. For starters, how did the eggs mysteriously find their way on the ship? Like, how is there just an egg? Oh, look, there's an egg over here. How did it get there? Like, I guess, like, oh, well, I guess a xenomorph just picked it up casually and walked it over like a regular Tom Joe, whatever, and just
So
placed
I
it on
can
the ship
answer that.
inconspicuously. And it's just like,
I can answer
I
that.
guess it's just there. I
No,
actually, I would. Do you have a reason? What's your reasoning, or what is it?
remember the Queen hood was on the ship in part 2.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so, I mean, they explained that she left a couple of eggs on the ship when she was hiding out on it.
Yeah, but she was massive. Like, how would she have fit that in there?
And what is she just like gingerly placing them in an inconspicuous spot? Because like when
Well,
because
my
when she
thing was
ran
like,
after
how did
them,
it get into?
Gingerly.
My thing was like, how did it get into the pod?
and,
With,
Uh-huh.
you know,
and what is
Luke
she doing? Is she like the one person that thinks they grab one thing so they don't grab a cart? And then so she's just holding all of her groceries, like, I gotta get these eggs in here quick. Because she didn't have her egg sack with her. So she's like, hold like, you know what I mean? It's like, I gotta make sure I get the queen egg for Ripley. Which brings me to my next question. How do we just know that the alien inside of Ripley is a queen? It looked no different on the X-ray, and when it came out of her chest, like it was just a regular xenomorph. It's a queen. Like, how is it a queen?
It wasn't a queen.
She said it. No, I just watched the movie. She said it was a queen. Like after they did the X-ray, she was talking to the person and saying what was in her. She's like, I have one inside me. It's a queen. So she like explicitly mentioned it, which is why we'll talk about in Resurrection. They have the alien queen, which their whole stupid series of smatterings of plot holes that get us to the 4th movie. But like, so I just like I have a lot of questions. I also I do want to disagree about the dog because I think it's interesting because it's the first time we get to see the xenomorphs adapt to something different than a human. So it's like you can truly see how they are, as described in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, the perfect specimen. And in Alien, they said it too. They are the perfect specimen. So they adapt to whatever it is that they're hosting upon, which brings about a lot of like really cool and weird questions about what can a xenomorph be? Because that would be really cool to see. Because like they do have like the bug ones and the gorilla ones and stuff like that, and like figures. I don't know if they're in comics or not, but like it shows it shows something that we haven't seen before, and it brings a new aspect of horror. The CG scenes weren't great when they show the dog running, but I mean, like it was 1992. So you were talking
It was
about like
1992. The previous 2 films came out years before it.
they were mainly
That's no
practical
excuse.
effects.
But
They were
there's no
mainly
excuse.
practical effects.
Well,
Because
that's the problem.
it was a new and upcoming piece of technology. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. It was in the 90s. Not everyone can be Godzilla or a Toho and making these awesome Godzilla films in the 90s. I'm sorry. Like what? But like,
All right.
hold on.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not done.
lie.
I'm not done.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
boy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, hold on. I got all my questions. Wait, hold. Oh yeah.
Look at that. She doesn't even know what he's talking about.
No. Because I missed my last question is how is it that the chest burster takes the whole damn movie to like, oh, let's make sure we get right to through the climax towards the ending when we get the fake bishop. It's like right where we're coming to a close, then we'll do it for dramatic effect. Like what was that? Like she was there for days. That that didn't happen in any other films. Like in the first film, it took the guy like a couple hours, but like never saw anything.
The continuity for the face hugger and the chest burster scene is all messed up throughout the franchise. Sometimes
the only
it's
thing
the few hours, then it's days, and then sometimes it's like minutes. It almost seems.
Yeah, and like the Alien versus Predator one, I can understand because like with the ending spoilers, the chest burster of the hybrid in Alien versus Predator, it took longer, but like not too much longer. And you would have to think that because the Predator is a higher species or whatever, that their bodies are more durable to the xenomorph taking over as a parasite. So that I would understand, but like all this entire time, she's just like got this thing inside of her, not care in the world.
I think I would know where Noah's going to rank this one. Lucas, what's your thoughts on Alien 3?
You couldn't make me care about this movie if you tried.
Wow.
This is just, I did not have a fun time rewatching this one. I thought I liked it so much more than I actually did, but then
It had a
I
weird
sat
first
down
time
and I actually,
look.
watched it, and I was just like, nah. It
All
was
right.
boring. I was bored.
All right.
I was
Before we
bored.
go, before
one
we
more
rank
thing.
it there, let's go ahead.
There's that one shot. Remember when Ripley runs into the mess hall and telling everybody about the xenomorph, and they wouldn't believe her.
Mhm.
And the one guy who was running the facility, the xenomorph came out of the ceiling and snatched him up. If you look at the design of the xenomorph, I don't know if it was a bad shot that day or whatever. If you pause it, the xenomorph isn't even black. It's like tan or something, like a tannish
Yeah, it's
gray.
a brownish color.
It's like a brownish color, and it's like weird looking. I was like, what is going on with
That's
the
intentional.
so
if you look at the NECA figures, it's intentional because it has the colors of the Rottweiler that it hosted on. So that was intentional.
So dumb.
Yeah, but then they should have kept it like that the whole movie because it gets darker and darker as the movie.
I think they got lazy with it when they started getting to like the scenes where like everything was like a bright orange and red color because of like the flames, or like because of like the whatever it was, the smelter or whatever it was called. So like they could just work on the light reflecting it. But when you were talking about like the Sigourney Weaver talking about it recently about the films and whatnot, she said that like this is like towards the start of the transition of like production companies and the studios taking over, because she said like every day David Fincher, I think his name is, like, I don't remember his last name either. He was on the phone like almost every day with the studio trying to get his film into like, because Ellen Ripley wasn't supposed to be in it for half the film. She's supposed to be like comatose, and there's supposed to be like a monastery.
That sounds like a good future topic. But One Life in Horror had to leave, but this is the comment that they had left right before. I only seen Aliens, and Romulus. Only one I liked was Romulus. Wow. I'm not a big alien girly. And then we got a new guest on there. So, hey, Ribbit, how's it going? All right, so now let's talk about where we're going to put this one. So I think Alien 3 here. So we don't. It sounds like nobody's putting in surprisingly decent. Is it an acceptable time waster? Is it a filler? Unwatchable garbage.
I ranked it as an acceptable time waster.
I'm gonna put it in filler.
Yeah, I'm with Lucas. Filler for me.
It's just not what I from going from Aliens to watching that was like a smack in the face.
All right, now just really think now. Like some of the movies that we haven't talked about yet on there, some of them may be a filler compared to this. But I'll
yes, think about what we're talking about next.
I'll go with filler 2. I'll go with filler 2. Yeah, so let's talk about Alien Resurrection. So I will kick that one off and just, oh my God, the end of that movie is so horrible. The end of the movie is so horrible with that weird ass looking xenomorph that gets sucked into space through the window. Oh my God! If I never have to see that again, oh my God!
What did it even come? How did that even think? I don't even remember how it happened.
How
did that thing come to life?
Last week too.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Let Dave say his piece.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so we got Xenomorph. We got Ripley coming back as a synthetic, and she has this weird connection with the aliens, and that's kind of what took me out of the movie a lot. Like, we had a lot of big cast. We threw a lot of stars into this movie, or soon to be stars in this movie, which it didn't really pan out. I think Brad Dourif was kind of the best out of all the characters that were in there. But yeah, Ripley's weird connection, like suddenly she's like, oh my God, I feel something going on. And it just kind of interrupt the pacing of the film. And then even with Winona Ryder's character and the reveal with her being the synthetic in the two, it was just like, I'm
prefer
glad
the term
that I
artificial person.
This one in a long time. Yeah. Let's see. And then we had like the escape pod, right? When they're all running to the escape pod in the film. Did anybody notice that kind of looked like Star Wars? They look like the one when they're in the one Star Wars, on the planet, and they're running across, and that's where they have to hide from the stormtroopers before they get shot, Luke and Leia. But yeah,
Exactly.
not for me. Yeah, not for me. Not for me at all. So next around the table, there's all right. So Noah, go ahead.
Whew. I didn't finish it. Rewatching it.
That says a lot.
Also, Ripley is not an artificial person. She is a clone.
Mhm.
Which brings me to my ultimate question. How was she cloned with the alien queen inside of her? How does that make sense?
That's not it.
She was they grabbed her, they sampled her DNA, and through the cloning process, they aged her in the tube. And then when she became of the right age, I guess when she had the xenomorph in her stomach, they removed it through surgery. There's no, I cannot.
That's what you're saying. Yeah. That was the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that what is, and then like, oh well, we like think of all like the alloys and like way we can shape mankind and stuff like that. Like, you just figured out how to clone people. Are you really telling me that after 200 years, because this is over a 200-year time jump, isn't it? Like between 3 and 4, it's over 200 years. You're telling me that you really need, like, you've solved everything. You've cloned people. Clearly, you can probably make synthetic foods and stuff like that. What do you need? What, like, you're conquering the universe. What is the point? This plot has nothing. The only point is a cash grab and a Sigourney Weaver's name. That's it. Like, I don't like.
Yep.
And
All
like,
right.
oh, synthetics. It's like the artificial humans go from being scary to now we're having Winona Ryder where they have her in a scene in her underwear. It's like, oh look, now they're all cutesy and stuff. Like, you're ruining the whole point of this franchise. You're ruining the whole point of the franchise. Like, oh my god.
Oh, get these women off my screen with their attractiveness, says the Noah.
Yeah, it's for nerds
So Lucas,
only.
that's a perfect segue to you.
I'm not gonna lie, this is the only one I didn't watch. I had no interest in it. After Alien 3, I was just not into it. I immediately skipped to watching Prometheus and the prequel ones that came out and whatnot. But like, I had no interest. It didn't grip me. I watched trailers from like way back in the day, and it just nothing about it screamed, "You need to watch this."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I agree with you. That
you'd be right.
Yep, you saved yourself with that one, Marcus. What about you?
Well, y'all gonna hate me. It's my guilty pleasure out of the franchise.
Oh my god!
Wait, so it's like it's a so bad it's good kind of deal?
Yeah, it's so bad that it's good, man. I
can respect that. I'll respect that.
Yo, I have total fun every time I watch
Spider-Man
that
3
movie.
for me.
Yeah, I have total fun every time I watch that movie, dude. Like, it's so bad. The dialogue is so bad that it's just fun to watch, and I laugh at it every time, man. Like, but I will say, like, the action sequences are great to me in this movie. I thought the xenomorphs,
the 90s cinematography really brings it all home.
Like I love the scene with the one guy where he has a chest buster in it, and he kills the doctor. Like, he brings the doctor, and the chest buster goes through his head.
Marcus,
I didn't mean to say
you're
that
making me drink, Marcus.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that word.
But
so as far as the connection with Ripley,
you got me on the bender.
Yeah, as far as the connection with Ripley and the xenomorphs, I actually kind of like that idea of them recognizing her as one of them because of the fact that her DNA is spliced with theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have done more with it. You know what I mean? I thought the hybrid idea was cool, but I wish it had a different look, more like look that we'll see.
Well, definitely got a better one.
Yeah, we got a better one down the line. So I wish it looked more like that back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like the idea was great, but the execution of it, I could see why you hated it. Dave. So I'm indifferent.
Marcus,
like I said,
you got CG drinking too.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Like I said,
we're feeding into addiction.
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
It's a guilty pleasure. Yeah, it's definitely a guilty pleasure.
All right. So where are we putting this one here? Is this one going to be a filler, or is
Garbage.
this our first unwatchable
Garbage.
garbage one?
Garbage.
This is unwatchable garbage.
Yeah, I'm going garbage too.
Surprisingly decent for me.
Sorry, Marcus.
Such a varying answer from where it's going.
Come on, man.
That's
that
about
underwater
that's
scene
about
was
all I
Yep,
can
he's
describe.
saying that it's garbage too.
It's still got the Zenith too.
Look, it is.
No.
That underwater
It's
scene was awesome. That underwater scene was awesome, man. Y'all gotta admit. the
I
underwater
hate hearing
scene
that
That was good.
word, man.
That was
I
good.
hate hearing Zenith.
That was
It's
good.
so awful.
You know, it was an even
All
better
right.
scene when the guy's inside got sucked out through his butt in the ending with the hybrid alien. Well, you know, just for the hell of it, we'll throw that in there. You know.
All right, let's move on to Alien versus Predator, the movie that a lot of people hate, which I don't get.
Really?
So, yeah.
I love
Yeah, I
Alien
get
vs Predator.
Yeah.
Is it a
So,
lot of hate compared to the first one, or compared to the second one? I mean, like, because we're
no,
talking about that
no.
afterwards. But
I
like,
know a lot of people hate Alien versus Predator. So no, kick off what you want to talk about.
I can strongly say
Honestly,
that movie is
actually,
the most
I was
fun I've had watching Alien in a long time. That
I was gonna say, like, it was a
it makes me feel fantastic about myself because it is so goddamn bad. It is so horrendous to watch that I cannot stand but to sit there, watch, and laugh. That movie is my guilty pleasure.
Hey,
Alright,
Lucas.
zip it. You can't even
Zip it. Zip. I can't. When a problem comes along, you must zip it. Zip it good.
That's the first warning there, Lucas. It was Noah's turn to talk, man. You're going to jail next. No,
and
go ahead.
on such
Aliens versus Predator.
a horrible opinion on this movie, by the way. Other than like some of like the weird shaky cams of making like the characters seem heavy, like when they're fighting, I wasn't a huge fan of that. Everything else about this film was pretty damn good, I will say. Like it's a fun movie. It's a really fun movie to watch, and like. So like it's not like I said, it's not a perfect movie. It's not getting ranked up there with Aliens and Alien and stuff like that. Like it's a really good movie. It does have its issues, but oh my god, what a way to like introduce these two characters. And I was wrong. I think this was the first movie that I ever saw because we all have like seen this together as a family because I think it's very soft core rated R.
Yeah.
But like,
No, it's PG-13.
Oh, is it PG-13? Yeah. So I mean, like that may have been like an underlying issue with why people were upset with it. It's like when Venom came out and it was PG-13, people didn't like that. So I can imagine why Alien vs Predator being PG-13 wasn't like good. And then they were like, okay, well, with the next one, we'll make this one super rated R, and then they did awful with that one. But like, I like it. Like I said, it has its faults, but it's really fun. They do mainly practical effects, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The
a lot of good
pacing's
practical effects in this one.
yeah, like the pacing's not fantastic by any means. Like I can look at some of my notes, like, but it is fun. It's like it's really fun throughout like the entire movie. The introduction of all like the characters, like the main characters on the team is like it is so early 2000s. Like it's like crazy. Like it's like
This
well, like, you
movie-
have the guy
yeah.
on top of this like ice mountain waiting for the main character to come by, and he's like got a helicopter. He's on the phone. It's like a secret agent. That's like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Like,
The
but
2000s
like,
had that style.
Yeah, it was Mission
showing the
Impossible 2 all
intelligence
over again.
showing the intelligence of the aliens, predators, and humans all working as like a huge chess match. Really like that. And the predator that came out at the end with like the cape and he's handing her like the scepter as like a sign of respect. And then the end credit scene. I think it was an end credit scene, or it was like the end scene with like the surprise like chest burster.
Yep.
Like that's just so cool. Like it's so cool because it's something that you've always like wanted to see. I was like these two titans clashing in the like for box office in the 80s. Like I didn't come out in the same time, but like they're both in the 80s, like, and both like similar genre. Like it is just like to now finally see them like decades later. It to be as good as it is. Like I think it's just a great film overall.
All right, Lucas, you got anything to add to your guilty pleasure there?
I think the movie can
Everyone's
be as
got one,
fun as
apparently.
it wants. It doesn't make it any better though. I'm not gonna lie. To me, like
Story wasn't bad.
speaking purely from like, oh, is the movie good? it gets the job done for an Alien versus Predator movie. Like it gets the job done. It shows you exactly what you want to see from it, while having the emotional depth and storytelling of like the Book of Riddick or something, or whatever the Riddick movies.
Chronicles.
That's what they remind me of.
Wow, that's like a kick in the nuts there, Marcus.
I
My
know,
version
I'm
of Fast and
sorry.
Furious.
What you got there, Marcus, on Aliens versus Predator?
So I hated it.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Hold on. I hated the theatrical.
Get out of here, you little twerp.
I hated the theatrical cut. I love the unrated cut.
That was surprising.
The unrated cut made it a more complete film. It made it rated R. The action was better in the unrated cut, you know, the home release of it. And since we can't use that one word, the attacks and the assaults were much better. I did love all the battle scenes between the, like, not too many people are going to know this, but the predators are actually called Yautjas. So the
my God.
the Yautjas versus the Xenomorphs were awesome. As much as I love Sanaa Lathan, I did not enjoy her character so much in this movie.
You're getting CG drunk over here, man.
Yeah,
I know.
Bishop was
need
cool.
a bottle by the time I'm done with this.
Yeah, Bishop was cool. I wish he was in the movie a little bit longer. But as a fan of somebody who was reading the Alien vs. Predator comics before the movie came out, I was like disappointed. You know what I mean? Because I was such a fan of the comics. But I was really happy.
I can understand that.
I was really happy that they introduced Yutani. And I wanted more of her in the sequel because I was like, she's a big part of that franchise. That character, if you read the comics, Yutani is a huge character, and that company is a huge character. And I wanted more of it, you know, and not just Bishop, because Yutani is ruthless. But they didn't show that, you know, they didn't show it. So that's why I was disappointed.
I was, as someone who's not a reader of the comics, I haven't got my hands on them. As someone who hasn't read them, I can see where your perspective is coming from, because you're like you know, like this is like your bread and butter at this point in time when you're reading this and you're loving it so much, and then you see it on the screen and it's just not at all what you were expecting from that standpoint. It's kind of like with Marvel now, like with their franchise, like hardcore Marvel fans seeing like some of the stuff coming out now and like even some of it in the past. It's like, this is not what I was expecting, because it's not the comics. It's not like what they were. So I can see that. I understand that from that perspective, given like with the comics and what they were in comparison. I can completely understand that.
Like I said, pairing them up was great.
And that PG-13 release had to have killed it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what.
Yeah, I've never seen the unrated one. I might like it more if I see the unrated one, but I've only seen the PG-13 one. So
they censor a lot of the unaliving scenes.
Yeah,
in the PG-13, if you think about it, like they show like precursors to things, but then they don't actually show it.
Now, I never read the comic, because as a kid it was the first comic book that I saved up that was over $100. So that book was not getting opened. The whole series I bought is not getting opened. I think I still have it here if it didn't get stolen. But so the practical effects in this movie is fantastic. I loved a lot of the stuff they did with this movie. I love the pyramid. I love the design of the practical sets. And you know what? I actually did like the female character. It was the first character I liked in the franchise since Aliens, which is
since Ripley.
Yeah, since Ripley. So that was all good. I liked the fight scenes. I thought those were all good. And I liked the end credits too. You know, the end credits I thought was pretty good. Unfortunately, they didn't deliver with the next film, which we're going to talk about in a second. But let's see here. So we got Marcus getting me drunk now. You messing with me by that resurrection. So that's the thing there. So that might be the thing that we have to do with this one. So let's take a look here. When it comes to this film, what are we thinking? Is AVP a filler, or is it an acceptable time waster?
For me, it's an acceptable time waster for me.
Yeah, I'd say acceptable time waster as well. It's still a very fun movie to watch. It's just, in my opinion, not a good movie.
All right, Noah, how about you? What do you think?
I put surprisingly decent, because I still like to this day will put on the film and enjoy it genuinely instead of just enjoying it as like a garbage film. You know what I mean? It's not like you know, other films that we're talking about here that are some
Yeah,
coming up, maybe very soon.
I'm split on this one too. What's surprisingly decent. I got CG saying filler. So CG, what do you think in between the acceptable time waster? Well, actually, if we average it out, he's got filler in there, so that would bring it down to acceptably time wasted there. So that's where we're gonna leave it that one for now. So, oh boy, now we're gonna talk about Requiem. Lucas, you got first at bat here.
I'm not gonna lie. I may have lied a little bit earlier about saying this was the was it Resurrection that I said I didn't watch. I also haven't seen this
Yeah.
one because
Again, not missing
I have no idea
nearly
where to
anything.
see it.
Thinking about this film is a waste of time.
All right. So we'll let Marcus. What do you think about Requiem?
So Requiem, I like just a tad bit more than AVP.
Oh my
what
God,
the
Marcus!
fuck is
Oh
going
my
on?
Hold
God!
on, hold
Play
on,
it,
hold on,
play
hold
it,
on.
play it.
Hold on. Y'all not even giving me a chance. Story-wise,
cook.
it was garbage. Story-wise, it was garbage. But as far as the actual action sequences, the xenomorphs, the Yautja, the rain setting, like I could care less about the characters in the movie because they were garbage. The only one that I did like was my dude from Carlito's Way, the sheriff of the town. He was the only person I liked in the whole movie. But the xenomorphs and the Yautja was cool, and that was it. And I enjoyed the action scenes. That was it. That's why I liked it a little bit more, because they pushed the boundary. When they took out that kid, I was like, oh, okay, we're doing something different now. You know what I mean? So they took out. This was like the first horror movie that I seen a kid get taken out like that in a long time. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But like I said, the story itself and the acting was just pure trash. So I'm going purely off just the action and the assault scenes, and that's it.
Oh man,
So that's why I said I like it a little
let
bit
me
better than AVP.
let me tell you, like the straggler getting off the bus. How many freaking slasher movies have we seen? Oh, this guy's getting off the bus. Now
Yep.
people are starting to die. Oh,
Right.
is it him? And we did it in an Alien versus Predator movie where it didn't fit. And then we
Yep.
have the love interest in there, the cute blonde that's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really like those guys. I'll hang out with you. But the action scenes, dude, you couldn't see the action scenes. Like they were
I saw it.
so dark, man.
Thank you,
I
thank
saw it.
you. Oh my
I
God!
saw
Oh
it.
my
Darkest
God!
movie ever.
Yeah,
I
you
saw
gotta
it.
adjust your
It looked
brightness
good to
settings on
me.
your TV to the max.
Yeah.
And I like the Pred Alien. The Pred Alien was awesome, dude.
That's
Oh
his only
man.
redeeming quality if it was in the film. Okay. Can I, is it my turn?
Wait,
Or is
no,
it
not
your
yet.
turn?
Like,
I'm sorry.
This movie was so bad with the action scenes, they actually gave the little girl in the movie night vision goggles because you can't see fucking anything. It's like, hey guys, this is
should have
our
had it at the
inside
premiere of
joke.
the movie
Yeah,
for
right?
everyone who
Here's our
saw it.
inside joke. Yeah, only the little girl can see what's going on. Nobody else can watching the damn movie.
Like premiere of the movie when it comes out, every person who goes to see the movie gets night vision goggles to see the movie. All right. Okay. Like Jesus, the opening sequence. Holy hell! Might I add, it is still
Hey,
dark.
Kristen.
It is still dark. It is, but we jump right off from like the beginning of the ending of the first one, seeing the new adult version of the Predalien, the Predinomorph, whatever it would be officially named this, the Predinomorph. The Zedetifer, whatever. And like that was awesome. After that, I probably could have assaulted myself, as Market would put it, and had a better time watching it happen. Let's go down the list. Okay. So having the sequence in general, like before even the fight scenes, you see like the specimens and like all of like the aliens technology and stuff like that. That's really cool to see. I love seeing that. Let's see. The father and son sequence, like that whole build up to what happened while they're hunting, also really intense. That like brought me back to Alien, like how intense that was, because now you know what's gonna happen when a facehugger attaches itself to you. But now we see it attached to a kid, and they're slow burning it throughout the beginning. I really like that. unnecessarily dark settings. What happened in the sewer? What happened? Oh, Lucas, you remember when you said we needed to see someone's face get like absolutely melted off? That happened in this
Yeah.
film, but you couldn't
Oh,
see it.
but you couldn't see it. Yeah, that
You couldn't
figures.
see it at all. You couldn't see anything. You see the blonde girl get absolutely annihilated by a predator shuriken, I guess you can call it. But you can't see it. So I wouldn't say you see it. I would say you experience it with all senses except for vision. And somehow there's like, even when the nuke is going off, you can't see it. And then there's the fight sequence between the predator that's hunting the Predalien and the Predalien, and you can't see it. The predator strips down, and then he starts getting his ass kicked again. So it's like, oh, he had that badass moment and then died and started losing. Let's see. More alien scenes than the first one, which is something that I forgot to bring up because there wasn't as many alien scenes as I would have liked in the first Alien versus Predator movie. But the second one had a lot more alien scenes,
An
which I did
alien in
appreciate.
nursery. The alien
Hold on,
in
I am
nursery
getting
scene was
to
so
that.
stupid.
Hold on, I am getting to that point.
Oh, the alien nursery.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, poor portrayal of aliens in large populace. I get the panic, but like, it's so stupid, and like that plays into like something else, which I was gonna say, which is it's too graphic, right? Like, and also, I'm sorry. You're telling me the Predalien has this super mythical power where if the alien genes and the predator genes combine, he can face fuck anybody and then have a nest of aliens in their stomach? What are we talking about? What is that? Like, so first off, it's a new ability for aliens because the xenomorph grunts, I guess you can call them, like, they can't do that. So what makes the predator gene so evolved that they can now do this? And why are they given nestlings of like bunchlings of 5? And like it just seemed it seems like it was dark visually, but it was also just dark in general. It's like you're having them go in and like overly exaggerate the eggs implanting into the woman's pregnant stomach. And then like the pregnant women die. It's like you went too far because Alien versus Predator, the first one, didn't go far enough.
Well, that's the studio's clever way of hiding bad effects, is making it dark. So before we move on to our rankings, so
and you
hey,
barely
Kristen,
even saw the Predalien, like the biggest draw-in for this film, and he was in it as much as you would say the alien from the first Alien movie.
Yeah, Kristen, we talked about that thermal vision. We were saying before, I don't know if you caught it or not, but we were talking about the film is so damn dark that the inside joke in the movie was that they gave the kid the thermal vision so that at least she could see what the hell was going on. CG's got in there like the final fight in both Venom movies or any CW fight scenes for DC shows. Cannot see nothing.
Well, at least they have semi-decent stories.
Yeah,
that, my friend, is a peak comment.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and rate this one here. So for me, it's unwatchable garbage.
Put it below it.
No, I
just
think
leave
you're
it in
sitting at
uncategorized. Leave it on uncategorized. Don't even categorize it. This is just hot dog water. Like,
yeah, honestly, just
oh
from what
my
I'm hearing, I don't even know if I would have to make like an F+ tier for this. Like, this would have to go below. Just from what I'm hearing,
fuck the plus off.
It sounds exactly like a bad movie. Like that. That's just unfortunately all I can say for it.
Yeah, you could rank it down there with movie 43.
yeah, let's not get down there, Marcus. So I know we've kind of have a consensus going here, but where would you have had it?
Filler.
All right, that works. All right, so now we're moving over to Prometheus, and Marcus, you got the lead on this one, so let's talk about Prometheus.
I'm excited to see your opinion on this.
I adore Charlize Theron. Like, anything she does, I watch. You know, she's like one of my favorite actresses. I loved her so much in the movie, but the story itself was like kind of all over the place. Like, it wasn't bad. I saw what they were trying to do with it, but I felt like they needed to rein it in a little bit more. They had such a big idea that it kind of fell apart by the end of the movie for me. I thought David was cool. Michael Fassbender was awesome in the role. Idris Elba was great. Some of the other characters was great, like my dude, the dude from the Mission Impossible movie that was the bad guy in Part 5. That had the scruffy beard. You know which one I'm talking about? The Irish dude. I can't think of his name right now.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
know
I
which
thought he-
character you're talking about. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember the character's name. He was the one that got like messed up real bad in the spacesuit.
Mhm.
And I liked the new breed, I guess, or it was the beginning of the xenomorph. You know, at the end, I forgot the
Yep.
title of it, what they named it, but I love the design of it.
The
But then again,
neomorph,
they-
isn't it? Or
Yeah,
is
the
that for
neomorph.
Covenant?
Neomorph. Yeah, neomorph. That's what it was. Neomorph. So yeah, this movie has so much potential. They just needed to rein in the story a little bit more, and I would have ranked it up there behind, Alien and Aliens.
Damn.
But
That's
again, it
strong.
was all over. Yeah, it was all over the place, man, because it brought it answered some questions with the engineers and everything that we didn't get from the first two films.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect. Like I said, if they would have reined in the story a little bit more and focused on that aspect with the engineers, to me, it would have been a really good film. So yeah, that's my opinion on it.
So I'm gonna be the one that is the villain here. Since Danny is not with us today, I will be playing the heel for this movie. I hate this movie. I hate this movie. Yes, I'm not a fan of straight up sci-fi, and that's what this movie is. This movie
Yeah.
is straight
spent
up
so much
sci-fi.
time.
That's
It
nice.
is something.
But it is straight up sci-fi, and then we have things like we have the one girl in there. She gets a C-section, gives birth to a space squid, not a xenomorph, a space
That's
squid.
explained.
That's what
They
the thing.
explain. They
I
explain
don't
it.
care if it was explained. It's a space squid.
It's also explained in
then
this movie too.
And then, like 5 minutes later, she's up and running. Like she
Yeah.
just gave birth to a space squid, had herself sewed up, and she's running.
I
Like,
wouldn't
the
say she
only-
was running.
Oh boy, come on now. Elizabeth Shaw was running. She was fighting towards the end.
You
there.
mean replace?
Did you
like-
rewatch it
yeah.
recently? Because
Yeah.
she was like
Okay.
limp running. She wasn't doing her best. She
That's
wasn't giving
Numi
her
replace.
110.
Look,
Speaking
look,
of
Who knows?
that's
This is
how
the
much I
future. This
did-
is the future. We don't know like how we've evolved as a species. First off,
Yeah.
because we have to
Have-
adapt
have you-
to
seen
cryostasis
our
and living in space.
Have you seen our society? That's then really fiction there because
This
they
is
ain't-
an
we ain't
alternate
evolving to
universe.
that point.
Dude, we're not making it to the year 2094 when this is placed. Like, relax. Like, this is clearly not the same universe. This is altered because
my
they're
God.
making it places. They're doing
Look.
stuff in the sciences still. Like,
Look, the only redeeming thing for this
I
movie,
must
like
interject
Marcus
here.
said-
I must interject
Yeah.
here. I was gonna
You-
keep it a
you'll
secret
get
from
your
you.
Turn. You'll get your turn. So now
You
everybody
seem
that's
done
watching-
with your turn.
No, I'm not done with my turn. You're just interrupting.
Okay, fine. Keep going. I apologize.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Now this is why it's called combat ranking, right? I didn't expect it to be this heated, but yeah, trash. This movie is the only redeeming factors here is that Charlize Theron's in it and David Fassbender. That's it. That's the only thing I care about these movies.
Michael
And
Fassbender.
Really, Michael Fassbender. I'll toss him out too because Charlize is the only redeeming factor. I'm never
Wait,
gonna watch this movie again.
Idris was good in it. Idris Elba was good in it.
Michael Fassbender was phenomenal in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All three of them were good in it, man.
I am never watching this movie
Acting
again.
was top tier all around.
Noah, go ahead, Noah. You can go now.
Good. I will. So when I first saw this movie, I fell asleep on it because we watched it together. And we both fell asleep on this movie. Watching it again has made
I'm
this.
just saying
as
something,
I said,
right?
It's my turn. Silence yourself with your chats or whatever. Michael Fassbender, as always, a phenomenal performance. He always gives Idris Elba too. They're like all around the acting was like and the cast was great. Like I could not complain from like anyone. Like they all play. Everyone who's in this film played their character well. So you can't complain about that. And while the story was a little bigger than what we were than what was typically anticipated from an alien movie, I thought they reined it in nice. I thought keeping the key details towards David's character because he was also in Covenant, and we get to see more of why the artificial persons are buggy and whatnot, and also getting a better explanation as to the colony planet for aliens, unless I'm making connections wrong, but whatever. I like everything about it, and I really actually did genuinely enjoy the aspect of not knowing all there is to know about the engineers. I think that only David as a character getting to know like what the secrets behind the engineers are, like even if he knows, because we don't know if he knows, like just not knowing, but like thinking about all these things. I think it's better than explaining it, because I don't think it could live up in your head if you actually find out why the engineers decided that they wanted to create us and then ultimately destroy us. Plus, let's be real, the entire premise of this franchise explains why they wanted to destroy us. We were so like, because these humans are, even until Alien Resurrection, which is like 300 to 400 years in the future from Prometheus, which is the first movie chronologically in the canon universe for Aliens, we're still after a money and power grab in that movie. So like the answers as to why the engineers wanted to kill us was pretty clear. And
we're in
also
a different
showing
universe, Noah. We're supposed to evolve out of that.
You're right. So I'm talking about the canon universe, which shows that the Wayland community and the people that are running it are corrupt individuals looking for money and power. I'm talking about the universe specifically. You're pulling from previous stuff that was unrelated to what I'm currently talking about. Thank you very much. Because in the movie franchise, the canon franchise, that is what the Wayland Station is about. They're looking for a way to immortalize themselves because the creator of this company is afraid of dying. So he wanted to be immortal, which is why he wasn't, everyone presumed he was dead, but then in the end of the film was like, hey, I'm not dead. And we got a great actor for it as well.
Yeah, there's a reason why they stopped making this trilogy. Lucas, what do you got, Lucas?
They didn't stop making the trilogy. They made Covenant, which was arguably way worse. The evolution of the xenomorphs was well done.
I really enjoyed this movie. Michael Fassbender was a big standout for me. I was never too heavy on Charlize Theron. However, I believe she did a wonderful job. I really liked the prequel aspect of it. It was. I don't know.
It answers a lot of questions.
Because
incites new ones.
Well, it answers a lot of questions, but it also incites new lore that we possibly didn't know a whole bunch about before, and I really like that. Is it kind of like retconning in a sense? A little bit to me, but that's just personal things.
What's it retconning?
I have personal. I don't want to get into it. I get upset.
Well, I'm curious. What is it retconning? Because now I want to know.
All right, let's see what the comments say. So look. Kristen's got in there. She had to watch it twice to get it. And then let's see.
People are just built different. I don't know.
Yeah. Fassbender plays the same character in every movie. Just another one real there. Yeah.
I think I disagree with that one.
Yeah. So let's talk about ranking here. Unless Lucas, you have anything to add before we move over to dropping it in our tier list?
Well, hold on.
If
CG
I would say any.
What, Marcus? What you got?
I was gonna say CG made a good comment. He said not knowing what the engineers are or about made it even more made the movie worse. Yeah, see, that's what I wanted.
I like that aspect of not knowing
the engineers. Yeah.
But isn't that perfectly describing an alien movie? Because when the first Alien movie came out, nobody knew what it was. Even the characters, they still had no idea what it was or where it came from and what it can do fully. All they knew was to fear it. So that's kind of it's kind of like that concept, but spun differently, because instead of fearing these engineers, we are curious about learning and potentially meeting them. So it's exactly what an Alien movie is, just in a different light.
Well, no, because that's bad writing, Noah, because of the fact that the engineers were introduced in the first movie, and they never touched on the engineers again until Prometheus.
I think there's a specific reason for that, because you go throughout the franchise. When we talk about Romulus, they said for 20 years they searched for, spoilers alert, they searched for the xenomorph that Ripley supposedly unalived. But in no time during that monologue did they say that they were searching for Ripley. They don't care about exploration. They care about, as I said earlier, money and power and all that stuff. So that's why they searched for the xenomorph, to make people immortal. So they created those serums, which obviously didn't go to plan, but it's showing exactly what this company's priorities are. So that's why they talked about it in the first one, but they never went past it, because the company doesn't care about them. They care about making money.
Let's go over to ranking. So right now I'm putting in surprisingly decent, because I have it as trash. But so Noah, you love this movie. Where are you actually putting this one?
That's exactly where I put it. I put it as surprisingly decent, because it did surprise me on the rewatch.
All right, Lucas, how about you?
Yeah, no, first time seeing this movie, ever, not even, I didn't even know it was a part
Potential
of the
world
Alien
building.
franchise when I first saw it. I just thought that it was a cool sci-fi movie, and then as I watched it, I was like, holy shit, this is Alien. Oh, I didn't even realize that. So
Is it a
to me,
must-watch for you?
surprisingly decent.
Okay,
I think
surprisingly decent.
I would put it up to must watch if I had the chance to watch it again, because I really like rewatching that movie.
Okay,
But
all right. Marcus,
just right
how
now,
about
it's
you?
not sitting.
Surprisingly decent for me as well.
Surprisingly decent. So that looks like that's where it's going to land. We got a must-watch garbage, and we got 2 surprisingly decent. So that's where it falls. That seems good. No, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay with that. Now we're going to talk about Alien Covenant.
Oh god.
What? Oh my God, Marcus!
Marcus,
I'm
I'm
already
with you
empty my
here.
glass.
Marcus, I'm with you here.
Oh, go ahead, Marcus. You start us off.
Man, also from Prometheus to that, man, I love Fassbender, and I love the 2 versions of David, but that was
It
it.
couldn't save the film. It couldn't save the film.
It couldn't save the film at all, man. It could not.
That
save the film.
duality. It's always fun to see an actor do that.
I was so disappointed with Covenant, man. I was like, this movie has so much potential
You
to
make
build
me drink.
Prometheus and go back to its roots, and it dropped the ball hard. Like, oh
Playing a
my
piano
god,
song
man.
for this film.
Oh my god, man. I was sitting in the movie like this the whole time, except for Fassbender scenes, Yeah. Okay. I digress, man.
Yeah,
I'm
broke my heart.
with you.
That broke my heart.
I enjoyed this film. This is actually the first Alien movie that I saw in theaters before the re-releases. I get why a lot of people give it a lot of flack. I thought Danny McBride was not annoying. I thought he was pretty decent in the film. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
It's because
was
he was barely in it.
Oh,
Yeah, he
my
was
God.
good.
My guy has the same actability as how Whoppers taste. Like, you can have a little bit of them, but not a lot of it, because then it just gets bad and you understand why it's bad.
Yeah.
No offense to Danny McBride, like, he did really good at ruining the Halloween franchise. But
this is
Man, that hurts.
so, like, for all of its positives, there's negatives. Like, so the positives, like, this is the first film in the since 2 that we start to see the terror come back. Like, that
Yeah.
scene in the wheat field was very good. That was
Yeah,
very good
that was
horror.
This was this was the
Yeah, that
first
was
Alien
cool.
movie in a while to bring back the tension for me.
Exactly,
I felt.
exactly. And then, so that was added in there. I really love the way that scene played out. But then there's some David Fassbender. Or Michael Fassbender. I liked his role in this better. I think he was a better villain in this film. So I enjoyed.
I loved the duality.
More evolved.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem. It was the best part.
Yep.
Of the film.
Yeah. Listen, I will fully admit he's got to be my favorite part about that movie. Only because of like I said, the duality between old David and new David, and like the whole thing with him, like basically destroying a whole nother civilization, like just to see if he could.
Playing God.
It was that was hard.
Yeah. Now, a couple of things that I didn't really care for is, like, we have that opening piano scene. Reminded me of the Matrix architect scene. It's like, lots of talking. This is where I can fall asleep because it's so damn boring. And then we get that the continuity gets changed again a little bit because we have the xenomorph that's born with legs, and then we have the impregnation that's born from the airborne impregnation instead of having the facehugger come in there.
Yeah,
which is another evolution made by David.
Yeah.
It was another evolution made by David, right? Because he's experimenting with the creation of the official xenomorph, which I like the evolution that we got throughout the prequels.
I think this is the movie where we got the scariest birth of a xenomorph. I think because coming out of the fucking spine, bro, that's nasty business.
Yep.
That was disgusting to look at, but it was perfect.
I will say the overall concept, it felt very similar to Prometheus, like very copy and paste kind of deal. From just watching them both back to back, it felt very copy and paste. The introduction of what a xenomorph looks like, I get maybe it's just because it wasn't practical effects, and I'm a slut for practical effects. It looked cool. Honestly, the first time I watched it, and then when I took the fan goggles off, I was not a fan of it. And I felt like overall the movie was kind of flat, other than Michael Fassbender's his performance is amazing with the dual. Like I said, like Lukas said, the duality between the two personality types of having no emotion and then a robot struggling with actually having emotion. Really nice. And then I don't know if this is official canon. I don't know if it's official canon or head canon for me, but from what I gathered from watching Alien Covenant, which I really liked, was that David, David is the old David is on the ship at the end of the movie and kills the two people who knew about the two different ones.
Yep.
My headcanon is that this ship, which is a what the hell is it called? What is it? When you a colonization ship, they're going to colonize a planet. I don't know if they specifically stated what planets these different films from Aliens and Covenant. I don't know if they explained what if the both planet names. But if they didn't specify the names, in my headcanon, the reason that Aliens happened, the sequel, was because of David's actions on Covenant. In my headcanon, I don't know if it's official. I don't know. I can't say specifically if it's official. But if it is official, I really like the idea that David is the reason that Aliens, the second movie in the 80s, happened, because he put the xenomorphs, as you saw, the tiny little versions of the eggs in the cryopods with the people to the colonization ship. So I like headcanoning that is all connected. And I don't know if it, like I said, I don't know if it's official. If they are the same planet, I like it. If not, that's a missed opportunity. But if it is, that boosts my watchability and my overall experience of the movie. But overall, I just felt like the movie was just kind of, it just felt really lazy and very, very studio produced, in my opinion. I didn't seem like the heart was in it, like with some of the newer films.
I can definitely see where you're coming from with the studio,
especially compared to Prometheus, because Prometheus seemed like it had soul to it. Like people were putting their effort in for that film, and the studio reeled it back with Covenant because maybe they didn't like it either. Which with that, whatever, they have great opinions on how movies are doing in the world.
All right, Lukas, what do you got? Lukas, close us out on here.
Dude, what can I say? Covenant is probably right next to Romulus right now with being one of my favorite Alien movies. I really like how the CGI looked in that. I know. I'm talking about Covenant. Damn it.
Sorry, my bad. Sorry.
I'm also with Noah. I'm a big fan of them using the practical aliens and stuff like that. However, everything just the effects in this movie just so goddamn peak. It was so amazing to see in theaters and then at home. I can't really say too much about towards the story, because I mean my thoughts on that is that it was pretty basic alien stuff with some added David lore that I wish we'd gotten more of in Prometheus. But I'd say
it answers more questions
anywhere,
which is nice.
It's right up there at the top with me. I love that movie. Like I said, the bursting out of the spine with the new Xenomorph, that was badass.
All right, so let's take a look before we go into the ranking and the tiers there. So, hey Curtis, how's it going? So we got Covenant felt like an Elseworld story. For you Fassbender fans, he also said this here. Fassbender is the reason why there wasn't trilogy. I told you. Let's see here. This is a good point here. But the bad writing, leaving a partner in the room, knowing their other partner is shaking and dying. Yeah, that was something in that scene too. Yeah, that was no, I didn't really care for that one. Let's see here. What else we got? We got one more comment in there. We got Kristen saying the Covenant wasn't too bad. So
damn right.
All right, so let's go here. So when we think about the rankings, I think we're gonna have another average come down for this one. So no, what do you think about this one? I'll give you the first dibs on this. Where would you be placing it?
I put it as filler because that's pretty much exactly what it would be defined as for me. It answered some questions about that we it brought some cool aspects in, and whether, like I said, whether it's headcanon or real canon, I like the connection between the Aliens movie and Alien Covenant. But overall, I can just look all this up as a summarized point and be like, oh, that's really interesting that they did that, where like they made like they closed some gaps and made a new light on the Alien sequel movie. And in my another part of my headcanon, I think that the Wayland company knows about David's antics, which is why they ended up on the planet that had David on it. With Wayland knows, like they know what they're doing because they want these damn things, regardless of what part of their evolution they're at. But like, yeah, I think it's just filler. And for CG, if I'm making you drink, I apologize. You might want to grab a water though, because we haven't even gotten to rankings yet.
All right, so let's go here. So Lucas, where are you pitching
This is
it
a
at?
must-watch for me. This is a must-watch.
All right.
I love this movie wholeheartedly.
All right. Marcus?
Filler for me. I'm with Noah.
Filler. Oh, so we got another filler. All right, I got it. I would say it's surprisingly decent. I wouldn't have it as a must-watch. So I think here, if we look at the two things, we got acceptable
time waster. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Damn.
All right.
That hurts.
So,
that hurts.
For everybody that's watching, we are about to enter spoiler territory.
You've been warned.
All right, so Romulus. Marcus, you kicked us off last, so I'll kick us off with Romulus. I love this freaking movie. I think it was really done well. It has the first two characters, if I really think about it, in the franchise that I've liked the most since we've had Aliens, when it comes to Ripley and Newt and the characters in there. Rain and Andy are just amazing. I love their characters in it. I love to see what we got with the Wayland Corporation in the beginning of the movie. Like, we kind of debated it. No, you brought it up. We get to really see the corrupt version of the Wayland Corporation in this film and what they're doing to other planets. So I thought that was done really well. The facehuggers, like, they've been creepy, right? I think we all can agree that the facehuggers are creepy.
Oh,
to see them...
I want an RC facehugger so bad.
Yeah. The face huggers getting more explanation about how they can see things and just diving into the horror aspect of the face huggers was amazing. But where the movie lacks
God.
We didn't have as many xenomorphs that we should have had in the movie. I thought that kind of took away from it a little bit. And then, of course, we have the fan service. This movie is essentially Scream 2022 because it was a fan service movie. We had some nostalgic pulls with having our android brought back into the film from the first film, and so it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Like, for me personally, I think the next film is going to have a bigger impact on where this places in the franchise overall and the longevity. But the last thing I'll say before I pass it over to you, Noah, is the one thing that really didn't fit in this movie was "Get away from him, bitch." That line should not have been in the movie.
I thought it was a funny nod. I thought it was a funny nod because he was like, "Get away from her."
It was.
Bitch.
It was. Everybody in my theater clapped and cheered for it. But now, like, when we were talking about Deadpool and Wolverine a long time ago, it's not going to age well, right? Unless you're sitting there with a bunch of people for the first time, it's great. But now when you go back to rewatch it in the future, it's going to be like, not good.
I would like to point out that I saw this in an empty theater, and I still thought it was funny.
I don't know if I can agree. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that, like, just the way that particular actor delivers that line was just so. It was like funny and to a point where it was like, oh, that's a line I've heard before, but it's funny now.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, no, that's what I thought.
No, what you got?
Okay. I'd first like to start off by saying, by the person who asked what our scary movies are, we could probably answer that after we talk about Romulus. But I love this movie. It really brought me home to like what the original, what Alien used to be. The practical, oh my god, the practical effects with the xenomorph coming out of the cocoonussy, and it's got like the fingers like stretching, and they're like it's all gross and stuff, and like oh my god, and the tall man was a practical effect, and oh my god. You said the spine scene was intense to watch, like the birthing scene of the tall man, and then they killed Dora. Poor Dora, bro. Like, But like the story, like I really like the story. It's because it shows a different aspect of the company. What we see from, like, because we got hinted at them from different movies of like what the Wayland Company is. But in this film, we truly see it from the other perspective. Because you can't tell me that the Wayland Corporation didn't know that this ship was drifting on and hitting these rings eventually, and that's gonna cause some damage and some casualties down below on the surface. I was telling Lucas this, like I told him several times, like I was saying it several times, like that's gonna cause severe casualties.
He was practically shouting at me in the theater.
Yeah, and like and the final fight sequence against the tall man, where like she's dangling and like about to hit the rings, like oh my god! First off, the scene, like the cinematography of space, so beautiful. It's just so amazing to see. I love space. It's so beautiful to see. But it really also encapsulates the isolation of like still being out in like a massive void of nothingness, because there's nothing around you, but there's nothing around you. And they really did a good job with this. And like I said, the RC xenomorphs, the alien was a practical he was an animatronic, a full animatronic on like a thing. We got a whole bunch of aliens as well, which is still really awesome. But it's still like, even with all those aliens, it built up to it in a really nice way. So we transitioned from what Alien was to what Aliens to what Aliens was in a really nice way. And I really don't have any gripes about this film. The zero gravity spin through acid.
Yeah, that was nice.
Jesus, this movie was sphincter clenching through and through. Like, I love this, and like it was a taste just as well as Alien. Like it was a really hard decision. Like it's really hard because like watching this film, it's like, and like we get better explanation as to like how they evolve. So like when they shed, they go into their cocoonices, and like we've never seen that before, and Ash making a surprise return, because I was wondering if he was going to show up again, and seeing that and seeing them and talking about all of it, and then like the genetic enhancements and stuff like that.
Yeah, people complain about the CGI on Ash, but like if you look at all the other CGI flaws in the franchise, it's fine. It's fine.
So like they discussed it several times in like many different articles and podcasts and videos and stuff like that. It's really hard, even like you could be like like the best guy in the world. It's really hard to CG a face onto a face, because it's something that is so articulate and something that people are so used to looking at and recognizing.
Did you not see Rogue One? Did you not see Rogue One?
Yeah,
Princess Leia and Rogue One. Flawless.
I will say, since we saw that movie, and on the way to that theater, we heard about the news of Carrie Fisher and her passing. So we saw that 5 minutes from pulling up to the drive, like the parking lot. Saw the movie, saw that end credit scene, bawled my eyes out, because like that, like so that got me for like that got me. But the CG is so bad, and like the fact that like in the Spider-Man 2 extended cut with the train fight sequence, Doc Ock's face is not that bad for 2002 or 2003. So like I don't know how what happened, but like
I'm fine. I'm fine with the Ash scene. I have no complaints. Lucas, what do you think?
Hate homage for all movies. Yeah, that's a good point.
Specifically on the CGI of the face, I will say it a million times. I will much prefer I would much rather you just recast someone that looks moderately like the dude. Like, yeah, it's cool to have him like return in a way like as the character, but in the same sense, why go for that uncanny valley look when you can just say like, oh, well, this is him, but I mean, obviously you guys know it's not the original person. Like it's just too much in the uncanny valley for me to really like look at it and be like, oh hey, yeah, I'll watch this all the way through.
Yep.
It didn't bother me, to be honest. Like it was wonky, but like I expect that.
I would say personally, like thoughts on the overall movie. This was a fucking trip. From the beginning to the end, this movie fucked me up in more ways than I've been fucked up in a theater since like Deadpool and Wolverine. But that's a different kind.
Yep.
Like the cinematography, the script it's a little here and there. I'm not gonna lie. There's some things that I had issues with, and I'm like, usually I don't care about scripts as long as they're coherent. But it was like this was just such a refreshing take, at least for me, on what felt like what an alien movie coming out back then would feel like to like now.
Yep.
Like this is mine and Noah's generation's like Alien. Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
that
a fair
good.
comparison.
It's that good.
That is a very fair comparison.
I will,
yeah, puppy.
I will say it this way. Is it because of it was that good, or is it because of 2024 being that bad? But we don't have to answer that question. I'll let everybody just marinate on that one because 2024 movie-wise has been horrible. Marcus, you get to close us out before we look at some comments and rank this one.
Independent
Man,
horror movie wise though. Just saying.
What?
2024's independent horror movies been top tier.
Yep.
So
actually, never mind. You go.
Go ahead, Lucas. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say one thing about I Noah's been calling him the tall man. I'm gonna call him the human morph because that's what I assume is like what it is basically.
I think he's officially called the tall man.
Scene in which we see that poor lady give birth to that fucking monster was not enjoyable to watch. Not at all.
It also kind of looks like an engineer if you look at it.
He looks just like an engineer. He looks just like an engineer. And it is perfect that they got a guy who is genuinely like damn near 8 feet tall to play him.
Scream 5. Alien Romulus is Scream 5. Marcus, go ahead.
Dang, my light keep going out. Man, I love this movie so much. To me, it was basically it set up the perfect trilogy of the first two films in this, with this being, set in between those two. Perfect companion film to the first movie and the perfect bridge to Aliens. The acting was great. Yes, if you go and watch the pitch room video, it does bring up a lot of questions and punches some holes in the plot, but it's still okay. It's still an awesome film, but it does raise some questions. But overall, man, this movie, like, once they got on the ship and you see the face huggers, man, like, I was always more terrified of the face huggers anyway than the xenomorphs.
Oh yeah, because that's just such a
dude. That's
the submission of power.
You see the fucking seed of them.
Yeah,
you see
the physical. Man, dude,
like,
this
wee! And they just start jumping. Wee! Like,
right.
You're like Mario.
I hate the jumping. I hate it. I hate the jumping. It's fucked.
It's like if spiders could jump and they were that size, that's what it would be. And like just like the thought of like them coming at you, I could deal with getting killed by a xenomorph, but like them attaching themselves into you and then you just have like no control. Like that's something completely different. Because if I could fight a xenomorph, like most of these characters did, they went out fighting. Like even the ones that didn't go out fighting, they still tried their damnedest to like make sure that they survived. With the facehuggers, it's like you either run, somehow have the accuracy of God to be able to swat all of them out of your face, or you are getting mouth fucked by something that's got a 12-inch wiener vagina going down your face. And I like that's just so intense and so like it's like a sleep app mask times 10, and I don't want a sleep app mask. So
yeah.
And that's the thing with the facehuggers, you don't realize how strong they actually are. Those things are just like pure muscle.
I love how smart the characters were in this movie.
Yeah, so
these have probably been some of the smartest like protagonists in these movies.
Yeah, they're not doing the stupid. Oh, let's run in the direction of the killer or of the unaliver.
Let's run in the direction that the thing is falling.
And David, I'm with you. Like just
the X-ray scene.
Just the dynamic between Rain and what's her brother's name again?
Andy.
Yeah,
I love Andy.
Andy.
Oh my God, stole the show.
The fact that to see his duality of taking on Ash's personality, but also still kind of like Bishop, second Bishop, in Aliens. So seeing that duality of them was just chef's kiss. Perfect, man.
It was a beautiful fucking movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at that. What's going on, Mikey Buds? How's it going? Thanks for joining us today.
Wait a
Scream.
minute. OTF,
What is
Mikey
up?
buddies, OTF from deep benches off deep trenches.
We'll get to this question very soon. We'll talk about this question, but let's take a look at some of our other questions here. So let's see. Let's go. All new movies coming out. We got Kristen here. Since when is any birthing scene enjoyable?
That is very fair. That is very fair. Watching the high school video in I mean it wasn't like traumatic, but like it definitely doesn't
This
seem
was
like something that I would want
this
to be a
was
part of every
traumatic.
day of my life.
Yeah.
This was definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean, like,
scene
I mean,
is going to be burned in my head for a long while. Like,
all right, relax, everybody, relax. I mean, like the tall man himself is burned into my head. I can't remember all of this in such a horrible light in a sadistic way. Are we
CG knows
answering the
what he's
question
talking
about our
about.
favorite movies real quick?
Yeah.
Just like real quick,
Romulus,
what our favorite horror movies is.
Yeah, CG. We'll get to that once we're done ranking there. Romulus reminds me of the Batman taking all the best elements of all the movies, shows, etc., and combining everything into one movie. Yep. Scream 5. I'm telling you, this is Scream 5 in
Core
Alien.
4 is better than the original surviving group, in my opinion. Oi,
all right,
Yui.
All right, let's go here. So we got Alien Romulus. Right now, I'm gonna drop into a must-watch. I think it's a must-watch. So Marcus, what about you? What do you think?
Must watch.
All right.
Definitely must watch.
All right, Lucas, what do you think?
This is like S triple plus tier for me. I'm not gonna lie. This goes all the way to top tier and above.
So
I really like this movie.
All right. Okay, and Noah, what do you think?
Same deal. I put it at perfection. As soon as I watched it, that was my honest opinion seeing it, because I genuinely enjoyed it. And a movie, going in and seeing a horror movie hasn't made me feel so intense. It having such an intense feeling. Like it was something that really, really gripped me. And like movies in general, like you said, in 2024, it hasn't done that. But horror movies, when they can do that for me, because I'm like the guy who goes to the haunted attractions with a smile on his face, loving the practical effects, because I'm a sucker for practical effects, as I've said. So this pulled me in and took me away from all that, because I just genuinely enjoyed it. So I would say perfection as well.
All right. So the live vote is not updating in time, so we're gonna put this out to those that are watching. If you want to drop a comment on there. So first, we got a must watch from CG out there. Anybody else want to go ahead and break this tie out there? What do we got? So we got 3 must watch and we got 2 perfections. So Curtis, Kristen, anything that you want to drop out there, let us know, and then we'll go ahead and break this tie out there.
Come on, guys. You know it's perfection. You just haven't watched it yet.
Oh my god. We just spoiled a good chunk of the movie for them.
You know you want to rank it at perfection, so just do it.
I feel like we're doing like the Shrek outtake.
The Zenith commands it.
This is supposed to be. Prey should have been in the theaters, honestly.
Oh my god. We can't even talk about it. That's not Alien. It was such
we can
a great
talk about
film.
it. We've gotten through the movies.
All right. So let's see. So we only got the one tiebreaker in there. So Alien Romulus is going to sit at must watch. So now that gives us a go ahead here. So before we answer that question from our Scream guy on the channel there, let's go ahead and rank these here in order. So Curtis Gonzalez just came in with a must watch too. So yeah, we're definitely sitting at a must watch.
Yep.
All right. So it looks like here the no-brainer is number 1. You know what? Before I even say this, you have Aliens. We landed on Aliens as being a must-watch, Lucas and you, Noah. And you have Alien Romulus better than Aliens?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Aliens is perfect for me,
man. I'm going to have to get a whole bottle here the next time we drink. How do you have Alien Romulus over Aliens? Jesus, look, I'm going to pour the rest of my bottle out.
This is exactly what I was saying with Alien.
Relax there, Mr. Shallow end of opinions, being in the safe spectrum of fan approval. I don't want to hear it. I'm going with the truth against the grain.
This is true.
All right.
This is the same thing I was saying with Alien. It's the cult classic of what our generation would be to Alien.
All right.
And that's a very valid opinion.
It's good to have that perspective on here. So Alien is clearly number 1 because that is the one that we all agreed on is being perfection. So now it's going to be Aliens. It's going to be Aliens and Aliens Romulus as the number 2. Now I'm going to have to say, I know Marcus, Where do you sit? Which one's number 2 to you?
Alien Romulus is number 2. Aliens is still number 1 with Alien for me.
Wow.
I thought you were about to say number 3.
Oh,
I
you're
No,
got
still
you
so
gotta
excited.
have you gotta have a clear number 1. Like the number 1. I know you want to have them combined, but like.
But you have to because they're 2 different type of films. They're 2 different type of horror films. So you got to
But it is all within
rank
the same
all aspects.
franchise.
I'll
Because
say it right
Alien
here,
versus
right now.
Predator is also a completely different film too, because it has a crossover and it's more action based than horror, but it's still a part of our ranking list.
All right. So look. It seems like we're at an impasse here. So we'll
Yeah, we're
point
gonna have
this
to be
out
an
to the
impasse for
audience.
me.
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
okay. I'm okay with leaving Aliens as 2, but it's still number 1 for me, along with
All right.
Alien.
So we
I'll
got
accept that
2.
answer. I accept
We
that
got a
answer.
split on the 2 there. So in our comments, so what do we got? So what is y'all number 2 out there? Is it Romulus or is it Aliens? Right. We don't have to go with Noah because he's the rebel here, right? So what we
It's
got?
about being the rebel, it's
with
about being
Lucas 'cause
right,
he's
and I feel
pretty.
as though I'm right. Yeah, well, there's also that reason, I guess, too.
You know you want to
But
say
you don't have to
Alien
go with me.
Romulus
You don't have to
so
go with me because I'm a
bad.
rebel. It's just because I'm right, and I am. So
All right, so I'm gonna take it. The first comment on here that calls it out, which is the number 2? Is it Aliens or Aliens Romulus? Or what we
Oh
can do is we
boy.
can give everybody some time to think about it that's watching, and then we can talk about the other placements because
are
Here,
we doing
actually, let's do
individual
that
ranking
because
as
I got
well?
this.
let's leave it as a cliffhanger. So we'll come back to Aliens and Alien Romulus, unless it's going to be a tie. All right, so we got at number 3. Well, our number 4 is easily going to be Prometheus.
Yeah.
And
I
then
agree
let's
with
see
that.
here. Oh, wait a minute. We got a comment that's coming in. We got Aliens for sure as number 2. So look at that. So we got Alien number 1. Curtis Gonzalez too. Aliens is number 2. So we got Aliens, Alien Romulus, and then we got Prometheus. So now we have Alien Covenant and Alien versus Predator. We got Kristen too. So yeah, Aliens is the clear number 2 for this.
Okay.
All right. So
after
I'll
our
accept your
number
bad
5.
decisions, guys. It's okay.
Covenant.
Covenant number 5.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I will say, yeah, I will disagree. I will say that Alien versus Predator is number 5.
Yeah, I'm sitting there too. Like this one's a tough one. Like if I really think about the 2 movies, I thought, like I mentioned before, the Terror came
Out of the
back
2
with.
options, it's not a tough option for me.
Well,
Yeah.
again, the Terror
You know
and the
what?
Horror
Yeah,
came back
you're
with
right.
Covenant.
You're
Right.
right. You're right. You're right. Now that I got to think about it, for number 5, yeah, I'll take AVP over Covenant.
AVP over that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then that brings us to Lucas. Aliens versus Predator at number 5, or Alien Covenant at number 5.
Oh, where did Alien
Yeah,
Covenant get there? Oh. I don't know
Yeah.
if I can
Yeah, it
put
looks like you're
Alien
gonna
versus
lose on this
Predator
one.
over Covenant. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Alright.
I don't know.
Aliens is officially number 2, based on
I think
fans.
Covenant goes over AVP.
All right. Well, majority rules, you lose this one. So Alien Covenant
That's
is number 6. Alien 3 is at number 7, and then that leaves us with the 2 pieces of garbage here: Alien Resurrection and Alien versus
It's
Predator
such an easy
Requiem.
choice for me. Even with these 2 being next to each other, it's such an easy choice for me.
Which one is the biggest piece of crap?
Alien versus Predator Requiem, the worst possible.
Yeah,
Not only is it such a horrible movie in its entirety, but what a letdown from the first one.
yeah.
Yep.
wasn't
All
that
right.
much of a letdown for me, but yeah, I will put it at the bottom.
All right. So that is our combat ranking. So we'll save this list out there. We'll share it with our communities and Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't
Now
liked the
personal
video,
ranking.
yeah, if you haven't liked the video, please do that. And now we do have a question to get to, so let's me go and find that question, and then we'll answer that for everybody. And if anybody has any questions, you can feel to throw those into the chat as well. But the first question we got is, hello, this killer panel. It's an honor. What's your favorite scary movie? So, Noah, go ahead, go first.
Okay, so it is a tough option because I don't have the specific name tattooed on my arm, but that's for a specific reason. It's because I couldn't get it to work on with the sleeve, but I would have to say that it'd probably be John Carpenter's The Thing. However, if we're going based on TV series, then it would easily be The Twilight Zone, the original from the 60s, based on this bad boy here. But just as a movie, as its entirety, for Scream 7, I believe it is. Yeah, Scream 7 watching. I'd say John Carpenter's The Thing is like an easy sell for me. Like that is just such a great, intense movie to watch. If I had to tie it with anything else, which is a completely different genre, it would be Behind the Mask, because those are both just, and that I will be getting tattooed on my arm. But just like two such amazing films pushing the boundaries of what both of these genres were and it worked. It worked very well. So I really like all of it. Like I think it's great. And to CG, you are welcome. You've been a treat to talk to on this podcast as well.
All right, so we got The Thing. Lucas, what's
Making a
your
new
favorite
friend.
all-time horror movie?
If I were to say horror movie, I'd have to go Trick or Treat.
Ooh,
Oh,
I love that movie.
wow.
good one.
I
Wow.
love that
You were
movie.
talking
Sam
about
is-
it a lot. You do talk about it a lot.
Sam is my favorite, I guess, slasher character in fiction in general. He's adorable. I love him. To Tears is my favorite horror
Cute little
movie ever.
guy.
We have two of the best slashers, or two of the three best slashers of this century mentioned. So we have Leslie Vernon, which you know as the runner-up, and then we have Sam. No mention of Art the Clown. But Marcus, what is your
Yeah.
favorite horror movie?
Well, first, this is Princess Leia. Since we were talking about Leia, Carrie Fisher earlier, I actually got her when she passed away, so that was the first name that popped in my mind.
Oh,
Mhm.
in memory.
So I actually have to name two, and Davey, you know one of them because that's how we met at Monster Mania. My first favorite horror movie is actually The Howling. Dee Wallace is my number one scream queen, and I just love anything dealing with werewolves. So The Howling is my all-time favorite horror film, but Scream 2 is also my favorite horror film because that's the first film set that I was ever on when I was in high school.
Really, I didn't know that. That's
yeah.
really cool.
So, quick story. All the college scenes, majority of the college scenes when they were on campus was filmed at an all-girl college where I grew up in Decatur, Georgia, called Agnes Scott. We used to sneak on the campus to go talk to girls all the time. So the weekend we snuck on the campus, they were filming. And I got to meet a lot of the cast. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Wes, but I did meet Nev, Jamie, David Arquette, and everybody else that was there that day. So that is one of the catalysts of why I'm doing what I'm doing today as a filmmaker, was being on that set at 16 years old. So
talking to girls in an all-girls college has brought you to loving and producing horror films. It's like, get out of here, girls. We're talking to beloved horror icons. They're cooler, which is honestly valid. I would appreciate that. Like, if I saw a horror thing as like in the area that I'm at, you best believe that I'm going to take a look. Like, get out of here, ladies. It's time for the Scream Queens. Like,
yeah, once I saw Nev, I ran across that campus full speed.
Like, kid seeing the ice cream truck. It's like, oh my god, it's Nev in the Screamcast. Oh my god.
Holy shit, it's Nev Campbell.
And funny quick story again. Your dad will tell you, I don't know if he remembers. So last time we were at Monster Mania and they were there, Jamie actually triggered Nev. So Jamie and Nev actually remembered me. They didn't remember my face, but they remembered my football Letterman jacket. They were like, "Oh, you wore that ugly ass jacket, didn't you?" It was like burgundy and some other color, and so yeah.
Hey, don't be knocking on burgundy football colors, guys.
Yeah. All right, so it's funny though that your favorite movie is The Thing. Now, my first two horror movies that I can remember were on TV when I was a kid. So I was either around 4 or 5 years old, and this is when TV actually had balls to actually play these type of movies. So the first two movies I ever watched, one of them was The Thing. So it's either The Thing or American Werewolf in London. I don't know which one was first, but I clearly remember them on a Sunday afternoon watching those movies. But it depends. Like, it changes. Like, so my top three movies, and depending on how I feel, it's Jaws, it's Nightmare on Elm Street, and Scream. So depending on where I'm at feeling, it may change, but I have to go with Jaws right now, with the question being asked, because of the cinematography, the sound design.
It was such
everything.
a great film.
It's a great movie. Yep, and it's a movie.
There's a reason
that
why it's a cult classic.
Exactly, and it's a movie that I want to experience watching in one of those on the lake or at the beach
Oh
in a
my
tube watching the
god,
movie. It's just perfect.
I'd be terrified. I'd be like, well, it's like this is a good movie.
All right.
Riley hasn't seen the film, so I could take her first time watching it to go see
Yeah,
it
that'd be
then,
cool.
like that.
Chris
I've
But
has
seen
like,
a
it while
question.
tubing.
All
yeah,
right,
exactly.
we got another question. So Kristen's question is, which horror movie gave you nightmares?
I'll
So
go first for
Lucas,
that
you
one.
can go first. Oh, you want? Go ahead, Marcus. You take it.
Yeah. So Poltergeist. Poltergeist. It wasn't even the ghost.
Mm,
It wasn't
it's
even the
always the
ghost.
ghost movies.
Well, it was Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2. Poltergeist for the toy clown. That's where my clown
Yeah,
phobia.
yeah. I don't fuck with them clowns.
That's
No,
where my
sorry. Like
that's where my
I don't
clown
fear
phobia
clowns,
came
Motherfucker's
but
from.
scary.
ugh.
And then Poltergeist 2 for Reverend Kane. Kane was just a creepy old man, that just he was just scary looking, dude.
He's probably like a sweetheart in real life.
Yeah. So those two movies were like nightmare fuel for me.
Both very understandable reasonings. I would have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so funny story about nightmares. So I had them up until the point where there was an episode on the Real Ghostbusters cartoon where they were talking about how you can control your dreams, and I was able to figure that piece out because I actually can navigate and control my dreams now. But the two films that gave me nightmares, one was The Fly 2, saw that in the theaters, and when I came home, it was like, oh my god, that transformation scene messed with me. And then the other one was Nightmare on Elm Street. No, how about you?
Okay, so you know the two that I'm gonna pick. The first one is The Grudge, the American release of The Grudge. Both of these movies I'd like to reiterate. So we probably all saw around the same time, like what, between the ages of 5 to 8. We saw these films that gave us nightmares. So I was around this time that I saw both these films. The Grudge really did creep me out. At the time, my father, David up here, who's above me, has stated now that he wanted to buy the Grudge animatronic and scare me with it after seeing the film. At that present time, when I was like 7 or 8, I would have been terrified. Looking back at it today, would have been fucking awesome. And also, I will say the American release is better than the Japanese release, in my opinion. But the second one, you also know this one. The first ever Paranormal Activity movie gave me nightmares for almost a week. I was on their floor sleeping because I just could not. Because like it was the first. Okay, so this is the first ever found footage film I've ever seen. I had never seen anyone like that, and I was 7 when I saw this movie. So I'm watching this movie thinking that it's 100% real, and like it's mind fucking me. And then the final scene when he gets launched at the camera, I'm like, yep. And we're going from the floor to the top of the couch. But yeah, like so both those movies really messed me up as a child. And honestly, I think it's better to desensitize I'm telling you now, scar your children with horror movies so they're better equipped to deal with life in the future. Because then when they're adults, they're gonna love horror movies. They're gonna be a little fucked up mentally, but it's a good reason because then you get to see. You get to enjoy all these horror movies with them. You get to go to all these haunted attractions with them. This year, I'm going to Reapers. They have a new attraction. I am so excited for that. And I guarantee you, if I had been a little sissy bitch baby boy and not watch horror movies as a kid, that I should have definitely not been watching as a kid, I wouldn't be here today enjoying this podcast with you guys. So like, just saying, it could make or break your kid. You just have to take a gamble as which one you think it's going to be.
Yeah, so I'll add to that. So like with Noah, the first horror movie that he watched with me was Wrong Turn, until we got told to turn it off. But if you have
understandably
kids,
so, how old was I? How old was I in this?
I don't know, but you were pretty young. Now, how I look at it now, as being a former Blockbuster person, is if you want to have your kids watch horror movies, we have a video on here talking about the movies to introduce to your family, but show them the special features. So that's what we did with my daughters. Is they wanted to watch Walking Dead, so we showed them the first episode, and then we showed them the special features on how it was made and all the special effects, and that made it a lot easier. Now let's go ahead.
We
Lucas.
kind of broke through that when we also showed them Zombieland first, because it's a more comedic version of what The Walking Dead was.
Lucas, what do you got? What was the movie that gave you nightmares?
So I'm tempted to give, I guess, my comedic answer, which would be I have nightmares of watching Slender Man.
Okay.
That was
Because of Slender Man himself.
No, of watching the movie. I have nightmares of watching that movie
Okay, I
again.
understand. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, they had to be touchy with it, remember, because of the incident
It
that took place in real life.
just a bad movie. It was
Well,
just a bad
they
movie.
had to be.
That
Well,
was
they
the
no,
end of it.
because my dad made a good point when it first came out. When it came out, it wasn't too long after that whole like real life crime took place with
Oh,
the two
yeah.
girls. So they
Yeah.
had to be like really soft core with it because of what was
Still,
happening. So I get that aspect. Just stick to the game. Stick to the phone games. Stick to the PC games. Stick to the creepypastas. They have more than enough content for you other than the movie. But yeah, I get. Yeah, it was a terrible movie.
Yeah. I think my real answer would have to be Child's Play, though. I think the very first
Child's
movie
Play.
Also,
caught
yeah, also understandable.
very short glimpses of watching that as a child, and those very short glimpses fucked me up.
Yeah, I had a
I
My
watched it
Buddy
as a
Dog.
teenager.
I had a My Buddy Dog like
Yeah.
CG said.
I'm your
and
friend to
Wait.
the end.
I burned it
I
in
was
my
still
grandmother's fireplace.
bedwetting when I watched it. Like that didn't help it, man. Like, but like
Yeah.
I can just remember, I think, seeing the opening of the movie where he like possesses the doll and then dies and whatnot. And I was just like, that freaked me the fuck out. Like it was scary. It's like I don't want my toys to talk to me. That's fucking horrifying.
It took Toy Story to a whole new level.
Yeah, CG's in the same camp with you. He says, like, I do not remember, not because of the movie, but Chucky scared me so much because I had my buddy doll. Yeah, I hated those
Cabbage
commercials.
Patch Kids. Those
I wait. So was it a real toy originally, and then it turned into a movie?
I don't know if
No,
it was based
so my
off of
buddy
Go ahead.
was did come out first because it was around the time with Teddy Ruxpin and a couple other talking dogs. So I think if I wasn't mistaken, they initially wanted to actually use the My Buddy doll. But of course, with copyright and stuff, they didn't sign off on it, so they created their own doll.
Yeah,
I thought it was supposed to be based off of Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh, still an awful thing.
No,
yeah. My buddy was.
Let me
more
tell you,
lifeless.
yeah, we'll have to touch base after this podcast so you can see the trailer for it. But the commercial for My Buddy was just horrifying in itself. And that was the commercial that came on, and I would turn the TV off. I would mute it. I would go somewhere else because I just hated that commercial.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it'll go ahead and get us maybe hit with it, but let me see if I can really find that real quick, and we'll sign off with that one real quick.
I will say there is one more movie that Noah and Lucas probably would know. David, you would probably remember. CG, you might remember. Christy, you might remember. But there was an animated film that came out in the 70s. It was a cartoon, and it was based on a novel called Watership Down. And it was it was about killer rabbits. It was about killer rabbits. That movie terrified me as a kid, man. Because seeing a cartoon and seeing violence like that in animation,
this isn't Bugs Bunny.
Just ruined me, man. It just ruined me, dude. So,
all right, so I do have the trailer here, so let me go ahead and
I fortunately watched the Child's Play trilogy as a teenager, so I can honestly say it didn't scare me. It actually it might be because I'm not a fan like ritualistic and like witchcrafty stuff. It has to be like a really good movie in order to capture my interest. I thought the entire trilogy, while fun, was rather boring and not something I needed to see. But that's just me. That's just me.
All right, so here, Lucas. Yeah, Lucas, your face, it says all that I thought when I was a kid. But here's
those are worse than the actual dolls in the movie.
Wherever I go, he goes, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy.
Nightmare Fuel.
All right, so there it is. So that's what we're gonna end on is the My Buddy. Like now like every time that commercial came on, I turned that shit off.
Why was the dog so scary? What the fuck?
It was beautiful.
In the fucking wheelbarrow.
Are we doing personal rankings on the films? Like where we rank them from worst to best? Oh, I had a whole list.
We're done. So that's the consensus. The consensus. All right. So everybody, thank you for joining us for our first ever live show. If it's not the
in the books,
You'll see Danny here. We'll end up rotating out going forward. But next week, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the Terrifier 3 trailer. So join us for that, and it'll be a good discussion. Again, everybody, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Hashtag Zenus.
Zenus! Oh,
Hashtag Zenus.
is
Putting
it
it on a
over?
t-shirt. Putting it on a t-shirt.
I'll draw.
And we're not muted. They can still hear us. We're still live.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Hashtag Zenus.
Finish this whole
Spread it,
Brits
guys.
stream.
Spread the Zenus. Zenus and then Egusi or Kakunusi. That's